I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And today we're going to be talking about what to do when an ex reaches out.
The moment of truth.
Yeah, it's probably a moment you've been waiting for a long time. In many cases, it's been months since you've heard from them, since you've had any kind of connection or conversation. And when it happens, you are going to be in shock.
Yep.
Okay? I know what it's like. I know what it feels like. And I've seen many of you guys go through this over the years. It's so overwhelming that your body is just like, whoa. You're going to kind of feel like awake like caffeine times a million.
Yeah.
Like you've drank 4 bottles of Mountain Dew and had 19 coffees.
The palpitations. I know earlier you were saying that one of your clients had actually thrown up, and that was a physical reaction to the anxiety of getting a text from their ex.
Yes, it was somebody that I did regular calls with, and he was vomiting on the phone and spitting up, and he kept telling me, I'm throwing up, I can't stop throwing up.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it, and I understand, because, you know, you've been waiting for this person for so long that when they actually do reach out, you kind of lose a sense of time where you're at, what's going on. And a lot of times you'll forget everything that you thought about or learned while in no contact. Okay, so we're going to talk about how to handle this so you can minimize the chances of making a mistake.
Right. So the very first thing that you want to do, it's oversimplified, but we cannot emphasize this enough, and that is to breathe. So
like that?
In and out.
Oh.
Both. So your body is in a state of hyperarousal. Margaret did a presentation not too long ago with the window of tolerance. So that's another great video that you can check out. But the point here is that you want to bring yourself back to the present moment. As Craig was saying, your brain will be scattered. You won't know what time it is. You will have palpitations, physical reactions. So you want to put yourself back together and pull yourself back together.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of that scene in the Eminem movie where he completely forgets everything and he blanks out. That's kind of what it feels like. And if you're not ready for it, it could lead you to picking up the phone and having an hour-long conversation, and you're not mentally prepared for it. Now, they don't typically reach out through phone calls. Sometimes it happens, but remember, your ex is afraid of rejection too.
Yeah.
So they're probably going to reach out to you through a text. And a lot of times it's like an indirect, direct approach, which we'll talk about. But if they do give you a text or send you a text, that's good, because that gives you time to get yourself in a good place, calm down before you respond. I would not recommend responding anytime soon. Remember, if you haven't heard from this person in months, you're not obligated to reply right away, okay? So breathe, get yourself centered, think about what you want to do, and you know, eventually when you get to that place, you can respond. You don't want to sound angry or bitter. Sometimes you can get in an emotional place and be like, oh, now you're going to reach out to me?
Exactly. And this is really where your emotional self-control gets put to the test. You might have a lot of residual anger from the relationship and from the breakup, and it might come out in your response to them. You might be sarcastic, like you were just imitating.
Yeah, and then people do it. Yeah. They really do.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they've been waiting months, and all of a sudden now you just lash out, and And then they're like, oh, wow, I don't even want to talk to this person anymore.
Exactly. You want to make sure that you're being respectful, because that sends the signal to them that you value their feelings, and it also creates a safe environment. If rekindling the relationship and reuniting with your ex is something that you would like to do, you want to set a good foundation for when they do reach out.
Absolutely. So mentally prepare yourself for knowing that when they do reach out, you're going to get overwhelmed. A lot of emotions are going to be coming up, and you're going to feel like that balloon that's just letting out all the air going. You got to keep it together. You got to keep it together. And realize that you don't know what they want yet. It could be because they're interested, or that they miss you, or they're, reevaluating or rethinking the breakup, reconsidering things. They could be testing the waters. They're scared. They want to see what you're doing. They want to see how things are. But, there's a good chance that they're not going to be prepared. And you're going to be a lot more likely to be prepared for these interactions. So you should feel good about that, because you've probably been watching the videos every day, learning and growing and changing. And they're likely not making the kind of progress that you are.
Yeah, and you may also be tempted to want to talk about the breakup right away. Maybe you were never given a chance to talk about the breakup, or maybe you didn't get a proper reason for the breakup. So as soon as you get that message, you want to resolve all the issues right then and there. You want to remember to take a step back, because this can overwhelm them. Of course, if you do end up getting back together, the breakup is something that would have to be addressed eventually. But right now, your focus is on rekindling that connection and restarting that attraction. So you want to take things easy and just remember the things that initially attracted you to them and them to you. So your own anxiety can overpower what could be a warm and inviting conversation. So you want to be very aware of how you're coming off, and also be aware of how much you're texting. Another tendency is to text excessively, and that's another indication that your anxiety is taking over, that you're so excited you just want to tell them everything, and we understand. We've been there. But you also have to think about how they can be perceiving it and to not overwhelm them. You want to keep your responses short and to the point.
That's really important, because I will hear people say, my ex reached out and we were texting for 6 hours. It's so great. You're setting yourself up for failure. Okay? That is not what you want to do. I know it feels nice in the moment because you're finally connecting and telling them everything that's been going on, but that's not going to rebuild their curiosity, and that's going to make their interest go down in seeing you, which is the exact opposite of what you want. You want to see them.
Yeah.
That's your goal. Now, you don't want to look eager, because a lot of times you can look eager.
Yeah.
You don't want to look eager. You want to look like you're interested and curious, but you don't want to look like you don't have a life, or that you've been sitting at home not seeing anyone or doing anything. So it's important that you are creating curiosity in them to let them wonder about what's been going on in your life, but also, not oversharing and not ignoring. Some people will tell you to ignore your ex when they reach out. How you're supposed to rebuild the connection when you do that, I find it extremely immature and naive. You don't want to ignore somebody, especially if they haven't heard from you, or you haven't heard from them in months,
Exactly. And going back to meeting them in person, unless you're in a long distance situation, you want that conversation to lead somewhere.
Yep.
If you are able to meet with them in person, I would suggest planning something during the nighttime.
Yes.
It's a more romantic time. It's when, the things of the day have kind of happened and you're winding down. They might be in a more relaxed mood. So I would suggest that. Also, be aware of all the possibilities that can happen as far as what they message you. So we mentioned earlier the indirect direct approach. And what this is when an ex reaches out, but they don't say anything directly like, I miss you or I'm thinking of you. It's more about something insignificant.
I miss the cat.
Case in point.
Yeah.
You have great examples for that.
And it's so true because, they sound made up, but they're really not. And there's a good chance it'll be something about I miss the cat or I miss the dog or something like that, because they're afraid of rejection.
Yeah.
And I know it's hard to believe when you're going through it that they would be afraid of rejection, but they are likely afraid of rejection, especially if it's been a while. They don't know what you're doing. They don't know who you're dating, where you're at, what's going on in your life, or if you're going to tell them drop dead, you know?
Yeah.
And they might be thinking, well, I would deserve that, you know? So just realize that you want to kind of navigate slowly. Ideally, your goal is to get them out in person and have a great time. Laughing, joking, having fun with them. And that is how you turn things around. Sometimes you're in a long distance situation where you don't have that, but you just don't want them to feel like you're at their beck and call. You're trying to set a date to see if things can spark up again. Now, one thing that happens sometimes is you might bump into your ex in public.
Yep.
And that can be terrifying. And you don't know how to navigate that because you're like, well, is this a reach out? No, it's not a reach out. Unless they purposely came into your work or someplace that they knew you would be.
Yeah, which you do see that sometimes too, when exes know where your circle is and they'll hang around those areas.
I've seen people go to the bar that, a bar that you're at all the time and they go there, or the gym that you go to and they never went there before. They will do things like that. But you don't treat it like it's an indirect direct or a reach out, because it seems like an accident. Or you want to at least treat it like, oh, we happen to be bumping into each other. And if you do, maybe smile, say something, hi. But ideally, it's better to let them come over to you and talk to you. If they want to say something, because you don't want to look like, you're stalking them.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And sometimes it can feel like that. Sometimes if you've harassed an ex and bothered them enough, just bumping into you in public can scare them. I've seen that.
Oh, yeah. So the other thing is you'd have to think about how you would respond in this situation. So if you do live in a small town where it's likely that you'll bump into an ex, or if you have mutual friends or hang around the same circles, it might reduce your anxiety just to play that scenario out a little bit. Of course, we don't want you to obsess. So if this has become something more than just, planning it out and thinking this is what I'll do, then ease off on it. But for the most part, you want to have an idea of what you will say. It can also help to practice out loud. Of course, I would say in the comfort of your own home or in privacy. You don't want to look like...
Or to the cat.
Or to the cat, it's great. So this can also help ease your anxiety just to speak those words aloud, or if your ex is the type that would try to call you and have a reach out be that way. Or if, let's say, that was your main method of communication. So being more prepared can reduce your anxiety about it. And it can also be therapeutic for you too, just to kind of think that forward. What would you say? How would you feel in that moment? What would be natural for you?
You certainly don't want to look like you've been sitting around putting your life on hold and so eager to talk to this person, and you want to play your cards closer to your chest. Okay? You don't know what their agenda is. You don't know what they're thinking. You don't know what they're feeling, but you want to. So let them express some of that stuff to you. Let them open up to you and see what they have to say before you become vulnerable and open up to somebody who, for all you know, maybe just does miss the cat.
Yeah, possible.
It could be a great cat, So, just realize the worst thing you could do is rush into anything. I would say, if they call you, don't answer. I would say, get centered, think about what you want to say, and call them back. If they text you, don't reply right away. Do what you have to do, get to a place where you're comfortable, you're relaxed, and see what's going on. You don't want to come across as eager, needy, desperate. Any of those things can turn them off again. So...
Yeah, and you also have to think that you're much more likely to scare them off by coming on too strong rather than taking your time. So err on the side of caution when replying to them.
Absolutely. And of course, many of you will have different things come up in your situations. That's what we're here for with the coaching. You can get my coaching on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Of course, Margaret is available for Skype coaching. And in the future, we will have Coach Victoria doing coaching.
I'm looking forward to it.
But hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Let us know in the comments. And if you'd like us to cover this again. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon. To get my help personally, go to askcraig.net and click on Schedule Coaching and choose the option that works best for you. I do email coaching or Skype. To schedule a coaching with Margaret, click on Margaret on the top of the page and order a Skype with her. For the Knowledge Creative Healing course, click on the link at the top of the page and click Get Started Now.